Hello students, my name is Sumit Sharma. I am working in St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management Gurugram as an assistant professor in computer science department. Today we will start unit 2 of .NET web series. So most welcome to the web series of .NET. Now these are the topics which will cover in this unit. The first topic is class libraries in .NET, assemblies, manifest, metadata and attributes, introduction to C Sharp, characteristics of C Sharp, data types of C Sharp, which already discussed in first unit also, constants, variables, scope of variables, boxing and unboxing. So our today first topic is class libraries in .NET. So let we start. Class libraries in .NET. So it provides a large and very rich library of classes to be used and extended by application developers. Means reuse and extension of these classes will allow developers to more productive, and it is more robust and feature rich application in a shorter time frame. The .NET Framework class libraries are available to all .NET languages. At the starting of first unit, we already discussed about .NET Framework, and .NET Framework is a software framework in which many languages are there. So the .NET Framework class library are available to all .NET languages. The .NET class library is common to all languages of .NET. It means the way one access files in C Sharp will be exactly same in VB.NET, because the class library is common. So the accessing of files from our library is common to all languages of .NET. The .NET Framework class library contains classes that allow developing the following types of applications, like a console applications, Windows applications, and others also available like a Windows services, web services, ASP.NET web applications, Windows Communication Foundation applications, Windows Presentation Foundation applications, Windows Workflow Foundations application, and so on. The .NET Framework class library is divided into two parts. The first one is base class library. The diagram is also showing in slide. So first of all, what is a base class library? So base class library is a subset of the entire class library. It contains the set of classes that provide core functionality for users' applications. Some of the classes in the base class library are contained in the some assemblies like ms corlib.dll, system.dll, and system.core.dll assemblies. The base class library is available to all the languages using the .NET Framework. The base class library encapsulates all the common functions such as file handling, database access, graphics manipulation, and XML document manipulation, all encapsulated by the base class library. The next one is framework class library. It is a second part of the .NET framework class library. So FCL stands for framework class library. So it is a superset of base class library, and BCL is a subset of entire class library. Okay. So framework class library is the entire class library, and it provides the classes. Entire class library means it is a superset, and it provides the classes for the users to develop all the different types of applications. So framework class library includes an expanded set of libraries, because it is a superset. So it expanded set of libraries including WinForms, ADO.NET, Language Integrated Query, Windows Presentation Foundation, etc. The FCL means framework class library is much larger in scope because it is a superset of base class library, and it contains large number of classes, objects, etc. So the framework class library is much larger in scope than standard libraries for languages like C++. Next topic is assemblies. So first of all, what is an assembly? What is the purpose to use assembly? Now, an assembly is the logical unit that contains compiled code. Assembly is a logical unit that contains compiled code. You saw in a diagram, we have a source code, that means code.cs. We insert in development tools, we insert write the written code or source code, and after compiled code, the logical unit is created. It's called assembly, and its extension is .exe or .dll. So an assembly is the logical unit that contains compiled code targeted at the .NET framework. Assemblies are the primary building block of .NET framework applications. Remember it always. Assemblies are the primary building blocks of .NET framework. Because if we want to, for an example, if we want to run any software in our system, so first of all we will download the setup file, and its extension is .exe or .dll. After installing the assembly or setup file, we will be able to use that particular software. So it is a primary building block because an assembly is a logical unit that contains compiled code, and its extension is .exe, executable file, or .dll. After download these setup files or executable files, we will be able to use any software. That's why we are called that assemblies are the primary building block of .NET framework applications. In .NET, every application is compiled into an assembly, which refers to a portable executable file. Okay? Then, if I am talking about the PE, port executable file, the port executable file can be either a dynamic link library, means .dll file. I already discussed that when our source code is converted into compile code, means in assembly format or a logical unit, it has two extensions, any of them, either .dll file or .exe file. So the full form of or DLL stands for dynamic link library, and EXE stands for executable file. So the portable executable file can be either a dynamic link library or an executable file that contains the MSIL code of the compiled application. MSIL stands for Microsoft Intermediate Language. In last class we already discussed about MSIL in detail. Okay, so the .NET assemblies include metadata. In further slides we discuss about what is metadata. So in .NET assemblies include metadata that describes all the types that are defined in the assembly with information about its members, methods, objects, classes, properties, events and fields. So assemblies are self-describing installation unit, because in a logical unit it describe by yourself and install in the system. Okay, one assembly could be single DLL or exe that includes metadata. Here .exe represent an assembly with classes plus main program, and .dll dynamic link library represent an assembly with class only. So the basic difference between .exe and .dll: .exe represent an assembly with classes plus main program, and in DLL represent an assembly with classes only. There is no main program representation. Okay, actually we have, so next topic is why we use assembly. So basically assembly have some important features, that's why we are using it. So first feature is like assemblies are self-describing. We already discussed about that assemblies are self-describing, means .exe file or .dll file have all the code, source code, then it will automatically install when we click on .exe file. Next feature is version dependencies are recorded inside assembly manifest. Every application, every software has version dependence. Okay, assemblies can be loaded side by side, and installation can be as easy as copying the files that belongs to an assembly. Assemblies can be private or shared. In further slides we categorize assemblies into different categories. So assemblies can be private or shared, it depends on the type of assemblies we used. Okay, now we are discussing about types of assemblies. So first one is private assemblies. What is private assemblies? So it is an assembly that is available to a particular application. We all know about the keyword private. Private means particular person, particular application, particular software. So here we are discussing about private assemblies. So it is an assembly that is available to a particular application. It is used by the clients of the same application directory structure as the assembly. Next point, it is located in the same directory as the application or subdirectories thereof. This way you should not have any versioning problems with the application, because related to a particular application all files are located in the same directory. So there is no problem related to the versioning, related to the version of application. Okay, no other application will even overwrite your private assemblies, because it is only for a particular application. So no other application overwrite your private assemblies. Okay, the second one is shared assemblies. So everyone is know about a shared keyword. Shared means the application or software is one and number of users is many, so that's why we called it share assemblies. So it is a public assembly that is shared by multiple applications or multiple users. Okay, so it is a public assembly that is shared by multiple application. With shared assemblies, several applications can use the same assembly and have a dependency on it. Okay, it reduces the need for disk and memory space because the software or application is single and it is shared by multiple application. So simply it reduces the need for disk and also reduces the memory space. Okay, it must have a version number and a unique name, and usually it is installed in the global assembly cache, GAC. In a given diagram, you saw that we have multiple applications and we have an assembly. In assembly we have metadata and MSIL, and these block called global assembly cache. The name and the version are unique. Okay, the third and last type of assembly is satellite assemblies. An assembly with culture information is automatically assumed to be a satellite assembly. Why it is used? Why we use satellite assemblies? So it is used in deploying global application for different languages. It is also used to build multilinguistic applications because these language specific assemblies work in side by side execution. Okay, so there are three types of assemblies: private assembly, shared assembly, and last one satellite assembly. Today's next topic is manifest. So what is manifest? Why we use manifest? We are discussing about it now. So in .NET, applications are organized and packed into assemblies. What is assembly? We already discussed. So all applications are organized and packed into assemblies. All code executed by the .NET runtime must be contained in an assembly. All code, executed code, I'm talking about executed code or a runtime, must be contained in an assembly. So the assembly contains the code, running code, or we can say executed code, resources, what resources are used during running, and a manifest needed to run the application. Assemblies can be organized into a single file in .exe or .dll. Assemblies can be organized in a single file where all this information is incorporated into a single DLL or exe file. So manifest is one of the most crucial portions of an assembly. In fact, every assembly must contain a manifest. So manifest, what basically is, the manifest is a file that contains the identity of the assembly. Okay. Now last point is, manifest is a file that contains a description of the classes and other data types the assembly exposes to clients. Okay. Information provided by manifest, some information provided by manifest like naming and version information that can be used by the runtime environment. So it ensures that naming and version, what ensures? So it ensures that the user is loading the proper version of a file when the user wants it in the application. The other information is reference to other assemblies. Link one by one assemblies called reference to other assemblies. Security information detailing the boundaries or limitations an exam application is permitted to access when it is run or not. The security information also provided by manifest. So all the types found in the assembly. All the types found in the assembly. Okay, got it? So next topic is metadata. What is metadata? So it is information about the assemblies, modules and types that constitute .NET programs. It's called metadata. So basically it is a collection of information. What type of information? About the assemblies, about the manifest, about the modules and so on. The .NET framework makes component interoperation even easier by the following compilers to emit additional declarative information into all modules and assemblies. This information is called metadata, helps component to interact seamlessly. It is also known as self-contained type library, because in metadata we already discussed that it is a collection of information, and collection what type of information? Assemblies, modules, all type of information. So basically it also known as self-contained type library, because in a library all information are available. Okay, so metadata is common mechanism that the .NET runtime compilers and tools all can use. So Microsoft .NET uses metadata to describe all types that are used and exposed by a particular .NET assembly. Okay. So metadata also includes description of an assembly and modules, classes, interfaces, method, properties, fields, classes, events, etc. Already discussed that it is a collection of information, and it also provides enough information for any runtime tool to find out literally everything that is needed for component integration. Okay, so metadata is binary information describe your program that is stored in managed module. Every type and every member that is defined are referenced in a module or assembly is described within a metadata. Every single type or single member, all description is available in the metadata. It's just like a self-contained library. The data about data is called metadata, because metadata is the data, and inside we have a library, self-contained library, in which already some data are stored. So the data about data is called metadata, and it have a very important feature. It is a feature that the CLR, common language runtime, knows the details about particular component or object. So users of metadata in .NET, we have some users like a CLR. We already discussed about these. Common language runtime. So it uses metadata for verification, security enforcement, memory layout and execution. The second one is class loader user. So class loader user uses metadata to find and load .NET classes in a library. Third user is just-in-time ZIT compilers. So ZIT compilers uses metadata to compile IL code. .NET ZIT compilers IL code into native code prior to execution, and it does these using metadata. The last user is tools. So tools uses metadata to support integration, because tools is a way to support application. So tools uses metadata to support integration. Tools such as debuggers, profilers, browsers, or we can say object browsers can use metadata to provide richer development support. Now, I am going to explain the format of questions based on today's topic so that you will get an idea that which type of questions come in university exam from this topic. So the first question is, what are class libraries in .NET? We already discussed about class libraries. We have two class libraries, base class library and framework class library. Base class library is a subset of entire class library, and framework class library is a superset of base class library. Okay. Next question is, what is assembly and also types of assemblies? There are three types of assemblies: private assemblies, shared assemblies, satellite assemblies, like that. Next question is, what is manifest? And the last one is, what is metadata? These are the important questions for the university purpose. So this is the end of the today's session. Thank you for watching my video and have a nice day. Hope you will watch my next video in which I will discuss about introduction to C# and characteristics of C# and data types of C#, etc. So thank you so much. Stay connected with our channel or our web series. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.